Hello everybody. This is Torah portion, Parsha Shemos, deals with the plagues that Hashem brought to the Egyptians who persecuted the Jewish people. The first three plagues, the plague of blood, frogs, and lice, the Torah writes were not initiated by Moshe, rather they're initiated by Aaron, Moshe's brother. The water wasn't hit by Moshe, it was rather hit by Aaron in the first two plagues, and the grounds was hit by Aaron rather than Moshe. And Rashi points out, what is the reason why the water and grounds were not struck by Moshe rather than by Aaron? Rashi writes because Moshe had gratitude to the water and ground because it saved his life. The water saved his life when he was a baby. It allowed him to hide from the Egyptians and eventually allowed him to meet Basia, the daughter of Paro, who eventually raised him in the home of Paro. And the ground saved his life later when he interceded and killed an Egyptian who was ferociously beating a Jew. He killed him and used the ground to hide this Egyptian official's body. So Rashi points out that Moshe had gratitude to these things, and therefore it wasn't proper for him to initiate the plagues. Rather, Aaron did. So Rashi teaches us an important lesson, that Moshe had gratitude to things that we would not intuitively be grateful for. Right? We could be grateful for our health, be grateful for our family, but Moshe went beyond that. He had gratitude to water and sand. It's a profound lesson, that we should appreciate even mundane things. Maimonides writes that a key to happiness, what is a key factor in happiness? It's appreciation. Appreciation, gratitude, is the key to happiness. And this is, of course, affirmed in modern times by positive psychology. It's a whole psychology about the factors that bring happiness, and one of the major factors is appreciating our blessings. You know, there's a famous legend of King Midas, a famous fable. King Midas once wished that all they touched turned to gold. They touched all these different things, they turned to gold, and eventually he touched his daughter turned to gold. So there's actually a Jewish Midas touch. What's the Jewish Midas touch? That whatever we touch can turn into happiness. What is that? Appreciation. You see, imagine a person gets a brand new car. Right? I recently bought a new car. So for the first 2 weeks, very happy, very excited. It feels wonderful to have a new car. But eventually the happiness wears off. Right? Why does it wear off? Because we stop appreciating it. We take it for granted. So we see that it's not so much the car itself, but it's the appreciation of the car that makes me happy. And therefore, if we appreciate things, if I can develop appreciation for my car, if I develop appreciation for all that I have, I could turn that physical item into a source of happiness. If I really appreciate my health, my relationships, my job security, all the things we take for granted, if I imagine if I didn't have it, and then appreciate it, all that I have can be a source of happiness, a source of simcha. And that's the lesson of this week's Parsha. Appreciate even the mundane things. Imagine what life would be if you didn't have it. Therefore, see it as a source of blessing rather than something to be taken for granted. It'll be a tremendous opportunity for simcha. This is what I say, be mesamech b'chelko, to take simcha, take joy in what you have. I want to share with you a beautiful story that illustrates this point. My grandfather's teacher was Rabbi Avigdor Miller, a famous rabbi who lived in New York. And Rabbi Weiner Miller would often take walks. He believed in the importance of exercising. He often would take walks with relatives or students. One day he was walking in the streets of Brooklyn, and after he finished his walk, he went to the kitchen sink, turned it on in the sink, and he stuck his head into the sink. And he stuck his head under the water for about a minute, and then after about a minute, he pulls his head out very quickly, gasping for breath, takes these deep breaths. Then again, puts his head into the water, holds it under the sink for a minute, and then pulls his head out after a minute, gasping for breath. And his grandchild was there watching his grandfather. And he said, "Zadie, what's going on? Why are you putting your head under the sink?" And Miller turned to him with a smile and said, "I just finished a walk with the students. And on the way, somebody made a comment of how smelly and smoggy the New York air is. And it stuck with me. Yeah, the air is smelly here. Then I realized I have to be grateful for air. Air is a tremendous gift. The fact that we can breathe is a tremendous gift. When you hold your head under water for a minute, you see the sweetness of air. You love the air. It tastes delicious. Any air is delicious. That's what I want us to do. I want us to be able to, once again, appreciate the sweetness of being able to breathe. We can, of course, do this with everything. To appreciate the sweetness, all the blessings that we take for granted. The waters in our life and the dirt in our life. And let's all absorb these lessons and truly fill our lives with simcha. The simcha that comes with hakaras hatov, recognizing the good that we have in our life. Have an amazing Shabbos.